What is up, everybody? LinkedIn, YouTube, we are back. Another Wednesday's BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Mr. Muzan. That's actually my handle on Discord. But either way, we're back. Stick around for today's show because you're going to get my motives. We're going to talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing, why you see me pop up, and why it's important. So, if you want to stick around and listen, today might be an interesting one. Stick around. All right, what's up, y'all? Again, Chris Muzan here. Another Wednesday episode of Biz Buzz Live. Again, the reason why we're doing this, ladies and gentlemen, is to talk all things career, all things vocation, all things job, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that is your means of making income, your means of bringing in money. We're going to talk about it here. Again, I'm a financial coach, get a chance to sit down with a lot of people over the past 10 years, lift up the hood under people's financial life and get a chance to see what's going on. And before we start having conversations around saving and investing and getting out of debt, building, purchasing real estate, whatever it's going to be, we want to find out what's coming in and what's going out. Do we have a healthy cash flow? Are we keeping more of the money that we're making? And do we have the ability to go off and make more money? That's where it all starts. So inevitably, by having these conversations over and over again with tons and tons of people, we get to the same conversation of, well, how are you making more money? If you needed to bring in more money, how are we doing that? If we needed to find a way to go out and supplement our income, do we know how to do that? And that could be the fix for many people in their financial life. But a lot of times, how we made income is how we know how to make income. We don't really try or test new things or new ways of making income. So we got to talk about what's the job landscape look like? What small business world look like? How's corporate America treating you? What are the different industries? What are the upsides and downsides of the industries? What are the industries that pay more money? How do you inevitably get to where you want to go financially? How do you ultimately get there? And so that's what BizBuzz Live is about. That's why we jump on every Wednesday to have these conversations. Feel free to drop some comments in there. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube right now. Whether you're catching this on the replay or you're catching it live, drop some comments on the stuff that we're talking about. If you have your own questions around your industry, how you're making money, how you're bringing in income, what changes there are happening, feel free to drop them. More than happy to have these conversations. Today, though, I wanted to give you a little rundown as to why I'm here, why we're doing this. We've been talking a lot about other industries over the past few shows and just talking about, again, the pros and cons, the things people know, the things people don't know about these industries, about the medical industry of being a nurse or being in healthcare or around teaching and being in the education profession. We also, on some previous shows had looked at some lists of what are the top companies, paying salaries, kind of where do teacher incomes sit? What about what's happening with closures of restaurants in the hospitality space? We've dove into a lot of different industries and conversations around it. But I want to talk about how I landed in financial services, because it's not every day that we get a chance to understand how people get to their career, get to choose kind of where they wind up making income. But also, we just don't hear a lot of people that have transitioned into the financial services industry kind of the way my wife and I have. And so just being able to share it, I think it may be able to help some people really understand what their potential next move is, right? So just so everyone knows, and I've said this a few times on the show, right? This isn't my background, right? You can easily check my LinkedIn, right? Or have a conversation with me. And you'll see that I didn't grow up in finance. I didn't get a degree in finance. My mom didn't send me to school to get into finance. It was none of those things. I went to school for culinary arts, right? So I have an associate's in culinary arts and a bachelor's food service management. I thought I was going to go be a restaurateur, be a chef, be able to run a restaurant. I did that for a little bit of time, got in the industry, worked a little bit of the back of the house, worked a little bit of the front of the house. Those of you that have worked in restaurants, you know what those terms mean, what that terminology is. But basically, I've done almost every um, position in a restaurant that you can think of, right? Whether it's the people that you see or the people that you don't see. I've basically done all those in a short period of time. And my last position, I worked for the Cheesecake Factory. I was a assistant general manager, right, of a cheesecake factory, and got a chance to really experience what corporate restaurant life was like. So corporate restaurant life, doing high numbers, high volume of sales, doing your inventory, food costs, labor, schedules, right? Guest complaints, guest satisfaction, right? Making sure systems are in place, food quality, all those type training and development, right? All those types of things in place. You get a chance to see it at a major scale, and it gave me the understanding that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. Right? After you're in it and you see it, and some of y'all can relate to that, right? Once you're in it and you can see the industry that you chose, sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't think this is really for me. I don't think this is what I'm meant to do. Even if it's what I thought I was going to do, even if it's what I paid money for to get the degree in, I don't think that this is what's going to take me and my family or me, right, to the levels I want to go. I just happen to have that realization a bit earlier. And again, some of you may be having those same realizations. You may know, like, man, the industry I chose, that I went to school for, or that I've been doing for the past 5, 7, 10 years, 15 years, it really isn't gonna get me to where I want to go. Right? It really isn't. And you've come to that realization. Now we have to make some decisions. So once I came to that realization that it wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to go, my mind became open to figuring out, well, what was going to get me there? What is going to actually get me to the place I wanted to go? And at the time, being in my early 20s, I really just wanted some form of financial freedom and some form of, time freedom, right? Being able to kind of make all the money that I needed to and not have money be an issue, and then also have my time if I wanted to spend time with my family, or if I wanted to travel, if I, wanted to be a basketball coach or play basketball, whatever that was. I knew that that was something that I wanted to be able to do, right? Some form of time freedom and financial freedom. And then I just started having my mind open to, well, what are the things that can get me there? And that landed us on a business, right? Having a business. Didn't know what industry, didn't know how, right? Didn't never had run a business before. My wife was more self-employed and a little bit more entrepreneurial, but just right, was great at working, could build, right, understood how to build business. But even then was doing a lot of the work, doing a lot of the lifting herself. And so we were just coming together trying to figure out what is it that we could go do. I got introduced to the company that we're with right now, and got introduced to the financial services industry back in 2012, 2013, right? Probably around 2012-ish time. I got introduced to it after looking at some, franchises and other industries and all types of different things. Got introduced to the financial services space from a guy, really good friend, and just had a conversation basically saying, like, hey, this is just another people business. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know about an industry, right? We don't know what we don't know about an industry we've never tried or never really studied or taken a look at. And so I knew nothing about the financial services industry, had no idea anything about money or, right, the different roles inside of financial services. And he basically said, this is another people business. That was basically it. Like, listen, man, this is another people business. You don't have to deal with numbers as much as people think. You don't really got to dive into, understanding, how certain things are run in the stock market and all that stuff. It's really about people. And if you have a heart for people and you can be personable, you can be good with people, you develop some communication skills, you'll be able to serve people in the one area that they need the most help, which is typically around their money, around their money. And so that was kind of the pitch. That's what pulled me in to at least start exploring the industry a bit. When it came in, started to look at the insurance space, right? The insurance space where we were doing life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care coverage, annuities, basically being in the insurance world, insurance brokerage world. It's a place where a lot of people get their start in financial services, right? It's a lot of people get their start there. On the other side, some people go that do come out of school for finance, choose to go directly into the bigger banks, right? Bigger banks, the JP Morgans, right? The Bank of Americas, the Morgan Stanleys or Edward Joneses, the big brokerage houses, right? They start to go that direction on the top end of finance, right? The higher end of finance. And if you're just right a regular person, I don't want to say that like it's right, they're different. But if you're just don't come from that world, you may get your step foot in the door into in some form of insurance, and then you start to build on that typically. And so that's what we did. We started to get into the insurance space. We started to learn a lot about insurance products, and we were never captive with one company. But we always had great products and things that we were able to offer. And then what really started taking hold of our heart over time was the fact that people were not being educated financially. And I know I have some good friends in the industry, and we often talk about this type of stuff where it's like you might know that you need insurance, but no one's ever really talked to you about how it works or like, how certain policies differ from other policies. And then I found this across the board. You might know that you should have some form of retirement account, but you really don't know how your 401k works or how your 403b works or the difference between your traditional IRA or your Roth IRA or how much should be split. You really don't know. You know you should, but you don't know how it works. Sometimes you don't really understand how budgeting works or tracking works. There were so many holes in the financial space as I was in just paying attention to insurance. And when you just try to sell somebody insurance product, right? Oftentimes it comes back to the money. That's often what it comes back to. If it's not explained properly or you're not sitting in front of the right people, it'll often come back to, well, this doesn't fit in my budget, or uh, they look at it like another bill, right? Instead of paying their, $120 a month they pay for streaming services or cable or whatever it is, could they put that same hundred towards protecting their income and making sure their family was good? And that was often a debate we had at the very early stages of business. And some of you insurance agents, you might be feeling that right now, because that's what it comes down to. And then what we realized was that people really just needed to be educated financially. There was a lack of education around our entire financial picture. So while the insurance component is important and it's still a way that we make money, it's not really the primary driver, because the primary driver is people don't understand their money. People are not equipped, again, to manage their cash flow. Most people don't have, there's a statistic that says 70+% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, right? It fluctuates. It drops down to 65 and 67% and 62%. But a large majority of the population lives paycheck to paycheck. That's a cash flow problem. Who helps with those things? Right? We need someone there to help with those things. There's another statistic that says 60% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved for an emergency. Well, that's a problem, right? That's a huge void in somebody's financial life. Not to mention that we're $1 trillion in credit card debt currently, and auto debts are rising, right? People becoming more delinquent on their car loans and things of that nature. So we're having struggles in our country, specifically financially, and that's what we chose to move towards. So when you get on this scale of, Well, where do you fall? There's financial coaches, there's financial planners, and there's financial advisors. Your advisors normally are going to help you do some planning, but they're really going to make sure your investments are in a good spot. Make sure you have a balanced portfolio, right? Make sure that you're getting the proper education and information on how to get to your retirement goals or whatever, maybe even your legacy goals, right? When you slide down and you come into this financial coaching space, we're really trying to dive in and help people understand where they sit financially, what their habits are, and then how to craft a plan of getting themselves, working themselves through it. And a lot of times it's just a little bit more hand holding. It's a little bit more of, hey, you need somebody to kind of check off with. You need someone to talk it through. You need someone to hold you accountable to some of the habits and those things. And so that's where our heart kind of took over and said, man, there's a real need for this. There's a real need for this out here in the space. So we took that insurance business and that insurance knowledge and those things, and we allowed the coaching side, the planning side, to really shine through and say, hey, this is what people need. People need all of these things in their foundation, but most people need a plan, put a plan in place for themselves and their family to be able to get to where they want to go. And so this is where my wife and I focus in business. We make all of our money off of the insurance products still. Life, disability, long-term care, annuities. We're able to help people in the right products. But the focus is making sure people get educated financially and put themselves in a position to be able to now get their family to where they need to go financially. So once we understood the mission and we understood, man, there's a huge need for what we do. Once we understood there's a huge need for what we do, then we were able to really start to make some traction to serve that need. And when we start having these conversations around the financial industry, a lot of times what pops up are things like real estate or supplemental kind of industries that go alongside. And we always say, you know how common it is for people to say you should get a real estate license. You know, people don't know what they want to do. People are in between jobs. People, whatever, they don't like their 9 to 5. They want to try to do something different. Most people get steered toward what? A real estate license. Go get a real estate license. Go take this test, get a real estate license. Then you're going to come out. You're going to be one of 75 realtors in your town, right? One of 52 realtors in your brokerage, right? And then you're expected to go off with low inventory out there and be able to now sell homes. You have little to no experience. You've never been in sales before. Somebody said that you're attractive, so you could sell a home, right? We're prone to like going that direction. One of the things that we would often say is, well, why not go get an insurance license? Go get an insurance license. Why? Easier than the real estate side. Two, less supply and demand issues. You're not going to be one of 52 agents in your town. You don't have that many in your town on the insurance side. You're not going to be right number 75 of the people that they think about when it comes to purchasing or getting some type of insurance product. You have more of the market. Secondly, the inventory, right? Like a home is inventory. People are buying and selling the same inventory, the same homes. Over here, we just look for people that need help financially, more inventory. Because of what we do, we can serve the ultra wealthy. We can serve the top 10%. We can serve the top 15%. But we also have the ability to serve the bottom 85%, the 90%. That's what gives us the ability to have more market share, to be able to talk to more people, which allows our business to grow and have more growth potential. So the industry, the financial services industry, is ripe for growth. Unlike, right, getting a real estate license, because again, there's a lot of competition on that side. A lot of competition. Here's a couple things you might have known or might not have known, right? When it comes to financial industry, this was an article out of Forbes, said the 3 highest paying industries, according to research. You can guess, right? You can guess. Three highest paid industry globally are finance and banking. Number one, finance and banking. When you deal with money, you make money, right? When you deal with money, you make money. That's the way that it goes. So that's not a surprise. I would often pop this one up too every once in a while. The other one that says, right, if you, a basic Google search that says, what are the industries that creates the most millionaires? And the top one, the financial service industry, has been the most prolific industry for creating millionaires since its modern time. When you deal with money, anything, commercial banking, investment banks, hedge funds, insurance, wealth portfolios, when you deal with money, you make money. So they didn't tell us this in school. They didn't tell me this in school. I know they told a lot of people this. That's why a lot of parents sent their kids to school for finance, because when you deal with money, you make money. But we didn't know that until we got into the industry. And then we started to realize that because there's so many people to serve and there's so many people out there that need what it is that we're doing, there was a huge opportunity to go make big income. And then we happen to find out that it's the highest paid industry in the world. Okay? So understand, the financial industry is vast. There's many different ways you can go about it. Where we chose to go, we chose to serve the underserved community. We chose to go more on the insurance side of things and then more of the financial coaching side. We don't charge for the financial coaching because of who we choose to serve, even though there's people that are financial coaches that choose to charge for their coaching, which we understand is a model as well. We choose not to do that. We make enough money off of the insurance product side of things that we can serve people with the education and the information as long as they apply it and continue to get better. So we understand that's the direction we chose to go, because there's a lot of people to serve, and we're big on, as entrepreneurs, on the supply and demand side. If there's a huge demand for what you do and you can supply the demand, you'll be successful as a company. If there's not a huge demand for what you do, or you're fighting for all the same little bit of demand, it makes the business harder. So we chose to go that direction. There's many ways you can go, however, in the financial space. You can choose to serve the ultra wealthy. You can choose to become an advisor. You can choose to work your way into corporate banking, right? Or investment banking, and get yourself into hedge funds and wealth management companies. You can absolutely go that direction. Absolutely. We happen to choose to go serve the underserved, the people that look like us, the people that came from where we came from, the people that don't have $100 million set aside, the people that don't have $200 million set aside that they want to play with. We're helping the people that have $150,000, right? We're helping the people that have $70,000. We're helping the people that have $500,000 and are wanting to try to figure out how to get to their financial goals and dreams. So we found this industry that, one, served a need. It served a need, which is a huge part of it. There's people that are doing jobs that don't fulfill you because they don't serve a need. You're just doing a thing. So the fact that this served a need gives us a form of fulfillment when we go serve people. Right? And the stem of greatness, the seed of greatness comes after service, right? It comes from you being able to serve. So if in your vocation, if in your business or your work life, you can serve other people, likely you'll be fulfilled from it. So that's one, it brings a ton of fulfillment because we're serving a need. Two, it's the highest paid industry in the world. So it has the horsepower to get us to where we want to be. Financial services has created the most millionaires over time. Probably will not change. When you're in the industry of money, you make money. Okay. So we found that was something that was important. Three, our business, there was a system to it. It wasn't just get started and you're on your own, self-employed, very much so like a real estate agent. It wasn't the same. And I share this with people. Some of you that are listening might know people with an insurance license, right? You can send them our direction. Or, right, you might have an insurance license, or you might want to get one. Come our direction. We'll have a conversation. What I always share is that even if you think this is the same as something else that you've heard or seen, it likely is not. Just like a restaurant. At the same level of fast food, Arby's is different than McDonald's. Yes. So even at the same level, going to Arby's versus going to McDonald's, you might spend the same amount, but they're clearly different menus. The taste is completely different. How they run their restaurants completely different, right? So you can never judge just because both restaurants are fast food restaurants and serve food. They're still completely different. On a different level, right? If they're not at the same level, you also know with the same example of restaurants that there's a big difference between McDonald's and Ruth Chris, right? They both are restaurants and they both serve food. And honestly, right? McDonald's is most likely more successful, right? More locations, probably bring in more revenue. But Ruth Chris is definitely higher quality, which means you're going to get a different product, which means you're going to get a different level of service. So again, you wouldn't judge and be like, oh, all restaurants are the same. Otherwise, you'd go to the same place every time. Like every single one is the same. No. Well, same thing in the financial space. Same thing if you just judged insurance companies or whoever you choose to work with on the insurance side. Just like Arby's and McDonald's are different. Well, fast food, every insurance company is different. Who you choose to work with, the products they choose to offer, just because they all do life insurance, doesn't mean they're all the same. How one gets leads, how one gets clients, what type of customer service they have, what type of products they have, right? Their quotas, like everything could be different, even though they're both insurance companies. Same thing. You start to see brokerages. You start to see right companies like an Equitable or right used to be AXA or any of these Edward Jones or you want to go work for Fidelity or Morgan Stanley or any of these companies that are out there. Right? They might all seem the same, but they're all a little bit different. They all have different leadership. They all have some different rules. They all have some different products. They all have different things they want to push. So if you're in a position where you're like, I've seen this or I've been a part or well, just like you would never stop going to restaurants because you went to two, same thing. If you're going to look at an industry that potentially can benefit you and you know that it's the highest paid industry in the world, maybe you just didn't go to the right one before. Maybe you just didn't dine at the right restaurant. Maybe you just haven't found the style of restaurant that you like. Maybe you haven't found the quality of leadership or the quality of product or the quality of system that you like. And so one of the things that attracted me and my wife to where we are is the fact that we love the system, that there was a system that runs the business. So we weren't just figuring it out ourselves, that we know that, oh, this is proven to work. This is how we distribute financial products. And we do it systematically. That is one of the things that allows us to get to the ultimate vision, which I mentioned before, some form of time freedom and financial freedom, having all the money we want to be able to do all the things we want and being able to have all the time to actually do the things that are important. We found that by being here in the financial services space. I can't say that everyone experiences the exact same things, but for people that are hardworking, for people that have a heart for people that know that there's bigger and better out there, they're willing to serve, they're willing to learn, they're willing to grow, they're willing to have an open mind, they're willing to upgrade their skill sets. They like people, they like to communicate. For people like that, the financial services industry could be for you because it was for us. And again, all companies are made differently, all people, all leaders are made differently. But if what I'm saying resonates with you, reach out, have a conversation. Let's have a conversation if it could be for you. You could start at a very part-time basis as the very benefit of being here. And a lot of insurance people or financial people get a bad rep just because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of people that are steering people in the wrong direction, giving them bad products, not structuring them properly, putting people in things that they technically can't afford or just have bad doctrine. Whatever the case is, there's a lot of that out there. But finding the person that you can trust, finding the people that think and help, and you see them help clients, they help people in the right ways. You attach yourself to them, attach yourself to that mission, and good things can happen for you. Because again, financial services is the highest paid industry in the world. So take your skill set, take your knowledge, take what you have from another place, and you can come on this side and you can learn how to build a financial services distribution company if you choose to do what we do. If you just have questions about it, reach out, send us a message, shoot me a message here on LinkedIn or on YouTube. I'm more than happy to walk you down the path. I'm more than happy to share with you how we grow business and what we're looking for, and if this could benefit you. But remember, at the end of the day, we got to find the things, we got to find the industries, the careers, the business platforms that are going to help our families, us and our families, get to the place we want to go. And if our current jobs are not doing it, our current incomes are not doing it, it is up to us to find a way to make sure that we improve that. And we've been able to do that here in the financial services space, helping educate people financially. And we know that this could be something for you if you have some of the similar skill sets, some of the similar mindsets that we have. Might make sense to have a conversation, y'all. It might make sense to have a conversation. So, just so you know, what's coming up this upcoming Tuesday. It's May the 28th. We are holding a webinar. We call it our money making webinar, where we're going to talk about exactly what we do here in business, how we do it, how we're growing. We're going to break it all down for you. You see it there on your screen. You can feel free to register. It's bit.ly/UA money. bit.ly/UA money. That takes you to the registration. It's this upcoming Tuesday, the 28th. Believe it's at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 5 p.m. Pacific. Log on, register. You're going to hear from me and my wife specifically. We're going to get a chance to talk about what it is that we do, how it's benefiting people, and how it could benefit you so that you can take advantage of it, bringing in maybe some additional income to help with your cash flow, or maybe it's just getting a solid financial plan in place. But register there at that link. Again, bit.ly/UA money. That's where it's going to be, coming up this Tuesday, the 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. All right, y'all. Listen, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. This was another BizBuzz Live. It's always, as always, we're coming every single Wednesday to have these conversations around career and industry for you. Drop some comments. Feel free to follow me on any of the other platforms. But until next time, peace, y'all.